Your brain doesn't just compare, it competes. And every time you scroll, it quietly decides you're losing. 1. The Instagram illusion. You think you're admiring someone's life. You're actually measuring your worth in pixels. Social comparison lights up the same pain centers as physical injury. Every like you give is a micro cut to your self-esteem. Your brain can't tell the difference between social hierarchy and survival, so every perfect selfie feels like proof you're falling behind. 2. The envy feedback loop. Comparison doesn't end with envy, it feeds it. Studies show that seeing people succeed triggers not motivation, but paralysis. The more you watch others win, the less likely you are to start. Envy drains your dopamine before you even take action. 3. The highlight reel. Fallacy. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's trailer. Everyone posts triumph. No one posts tax forms, breakouts, or breakdowns. Your brain forgets this and builds a fantasy opponent who never loses. You're not failing. You're fighting an illusion with perfect lighting. 4. The if-only trap. I'd be happy if I had what they have. Spoiler, you wouldn't. Studies show that people who achieve their comparison goals reset their standards within 2 weeks. You don't want success, you want relief from wanting. 5. The phantom competition. Even when no one's watching, you imagine they are. That's the imaginary audience bias, where your brain turns normal life into a performance. You're not living. You're auditioning for approval that doesn't exist. 6. The like-for-like lie. Every time you post something and check who saw it, your brain runs an invisible scoreboard. That's social validation conditioning. Each like trains your dopamine loop to equate attention with worth. It's not self-expression anymore. It's data collection on your self-esteem. 7. The misery benchmark. Ever notice how you only compare yourself upward? You never think, at least I'm not Jeff who eats cereal for dinner. That's upward social comparison bias. Your brain selectively focuses on people slightly ahead, so you always feel one step behind. Forever. 8. The mirror distortion. Here's a brutal twist. People who obsessively compare themselves actually start mimicking those they envy, gestures, tone, style, until they become unrecognizable. It's psychological cosplay. You don't even want their life. You just want to stop feeling like yours isn't enough. 9. The deservedness delusion. When someone else wins, you tell yourself they cheated. That's defensive comparison. Your ego protects itself by rewriting reality. Their luck becomes injustice. Their success becomes arrogance. You're not angry at them. You're angry that your brain needs an excuse to feel safe. 10. The echo of enough. Here's the cruelest bias of all, the comparison paradox. When you finally feel enough, your brain panics because it's addicted to striving. It creates new standards, higher bars, flashier rivals. The chase becomes the identity. You can't stop comparing because you've forgotten who you are without the contest. 11. The validation mirage. You think you want success, but what you really want is witnesses. The social recognition bias tricks you into chasing visibility instead of value. You don't crave the thing itself, just the applause that says you're allowed to have it. That's why every achievement fades faster than your next refresh cycle. Your brain is addicted to being seen, not satisfied. And the cruel joke? The more people see you, the less you actually see yourself. 12. The spotlight swap. Here's a twist. When you compare yourself to others, they're probably comparing themselves to you. It's called the spotlight effect reversal. You think they're confident and you're invisible, but they're doing the exact same mental math. Everyone's performing, nobody's watching, and yet somehow everyone feels like they're losing. 13. The jealousy algorithm. Social media isn't built to connect you. It's engineered to provoke envy. The more envy you feel, the longer you scroll. Platforms literally track what makes you feel less than and feed it back to you like psychological junk food. The algorithm doesn't hate you. It just profits from your misery. 14. The friendship paradox. Statistically, your friends are more popular than you. No, really. The friendship paradox proves that your friends tend to have more friends because socially active people appear in more friend circles. Translation: your brain assumes you're less likable than average because math is cruel and psychology is mean. 15. The success proximity effect. When someone close to you wins, it hurts worse than a stranger's success. That's the proximity bias. You'd think it would inspire you, but your brain interprets their win as evidence of your failure. The closer the connection, the sharper the sting. We don't envy celebrities. We envy coworkers, because their victory feels like proof we could have had it too. 16. The contentment gap. Even when you get what you wanted, your brain moves the goalposts. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation, the process that turns triumph into Tuesday. You finally achieve your dream, and within days, your brain has already scheduled the next comparison. You don't chase happiness, you chase the next metric. 17. The humble brag trap. When you post something relatable, but secretly impressive, I'm exhausted after filming all day. Your brain's running the self-presentation bias. It's an attempt to look modest while still flexing. The tragedy? Everyone sees through it. You don't look humble. You look hungry for validation dressed as virtue. 18. The echo chamber of achievement. Ever notice that the same 5 people in your feed seem to be thriving? Constantly? That's not reality. It's availability bias. Your brain mistakes frequent exposure for universal truth. You assume everyone is doing better because the algorithm keeps showing you the same curated winners. Meanwhile, 99% of humanity is just quietly eating leftovers and wondering why they feel like failures. 19. The effort discount illusion. When others succeed, you assume it was easy for them and harder for you. That's the effort discount bias. You undervalue their struggle because your brain only sees the final product. It's psychological tunnel vision. You compare your unedited draft to someone else's polished headline. You're not losing. You're just comparing process to performance. 20. The doom scroll delusion. You tell yourself you're just catching up, but your brain is tallying losses. Every scroll is a silent scoreboard update. Another life you're not living, another win that isn't yours. That's passive comparison conditioning. The more you consume, the more your self-worth erodes. You're not learning from others. You're collecting evidence that you're behind. And the worst part? Your brain rewards it with a hit of dopamine for the pain. 21. The relative misery. Bias happiness isn't about what you have. It's about what you see others having. The relative deprivation effect proves that your sense of joy depends more on comparisons than reality. A raise only feels good until you learn your coworker got a bigger one. Your brain doesn't measure progress, it measures rank. You could double your income, find love, and get abs, and still feel miserable if someone on your timeline did it slightly better. The problem isn't what you lack, it's the scoreboard you never agreed to play on. 22. The success inflation. Bias. Ever notice how the word success keeps getting heavier? That's because the goalposts move every time society upgrades the standard. The inflation bias turns yesterday's dream into today's minimum requirement. Once, owning a car was success. Now it's a Tesla with a personal brand and passive income. The more culture evolves, the more impossible your expectations become. You're not failing. You're trying to win a game where the trophy keeps growing legs and running away. 23. The false fairness fallacy. You think life should feel fair. Your brain doesn't. It runs on justice sensitivity bias, a belief that effort equals reward, even when it doesn't. When you see someone less competent succeed, it's not just jealousy, it's existential rage. You built your self-worth on the idea that doing everything right guarantees peace. But psychology says the opposite. Fairness is a myth your brain invented to make chaos tolerable. The sooner you stop demanding fairness, the sooner you start feeling free. 24. The empathy exhaustion effect. You compare your emotional energy to people who seem endlessly kind and available, and hate yourself for feeling drained. But here's the glitch. Empathy has a capacity limit. The compassion fatigue bias proves that constantly absorbing others' emotions makes your brain numb, not noble. You can't pour from an empty self-concept. Every time you overextend to be a good person, your mind quietly recalibrates your worth downward. You're not cold, you're depleted. 25. The someday illusion. The cruelest comparison of all isn't with others. It's with your imaginary future self. You picture a perfect version of you, productive, confident, serene. Then you compare today's chaos to that fantasy and feel worthless. That's temporal comparison bias, the illusion that you'll magically become someone who finally has it together. But here's the truth. Your future self doesn't exist. You're the same person, just older, with slightly more laundry and better excuses. 26. The joy theft loop. And here's the grand finale, the bias that ties them all together. When you compare yourself for long enough, your brain starts associating joy with danger. That's right, success anxiety. The moment you feel genuinely happy, your mind immediately checks if someone else is happier, just to make sure you don't get too comfortable. It's a twisted safety mechanism. If you never feel satisfied, you'll never risk losing satisfaction. Congratulations, your brain just hacked your happiness for protection. So yeah, your brain is a jealous accountant with Wi-Fi and self-esteem issues. Which of these glitches hits you hardest? Tell me below. And let's compare how much we hate comparing.